What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 172 of Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, brought to you by Sellozo and NetRush. And today we're keeping it in-house. We've got two of our rock star account managers from Sellozo on with us.
It only took us about 170 episodes, but we got
I know. It took us a while to get them on here. But we thought it would be a good time just to come on and just talk about like the best practices and the best ways to manage your advertising through Sellozo. And obviously, what better way to do it than the people that are all day, every day managing accounts using Sellozo. So we've got our very own Grayson, Mullis, and Scott Simpson. What's up, guys? How are you?
Doing good. TGIF.
Yeah, it is Friday. It is Friday. Great. But I think this will be fun. And this is going to be, I think, really good for a lot of our current users or anybody that's thinking about using Sellozo, and also anybody who just needs tips on managing their advertising. I mean, advertising is no doubt extremely complex on Amazon. So I think this would be a good chance for us just to go over some just best practices, essentially. Before we do that, though, let's talk about you guys. Grayson, you get to go first. Let's get a little background on you, just sort of how you ended up working at Sellozo.
Oh God, you want the whole background, huh?
Come on, you got time. You got a few minutes. Let's hear it.
Currently located in San Diego. From North Carolina. I got into PPC just working in e-commerce in college and reselling things online. I hated the service industry. I think most people do. So I was like, why not stay home and work? So I figured out how to do that in college and ran with it. That's sort of how I landed on this job at Sellozo here. And I've been working here over a year now. So just managing accounts, telling people how to not waste all of their money on Amazon, just a little bit of money, but not all of it.
You're underselling yourself there.
Yeah, you're underselling.
We hear every day some client with an impressive story about you. So
oh wow, thank you.
Yeah, everyone who's listening, Grayson is awesome at this.
Thanks, guys.
And a cool person. All right, Scott, let's hear your story, how you ended up here. You're one of the OGs.
Yeah, he's original.
Yeah. So I've been at Sellozo for 3 years now. Prior to that, I was in healthcare IT. So I spent quite a while consulting, hospitals on their Cerner software. And then also after that, I was in a marketing agency for quite a while. I dealt a lot with like Sitecore, Magento, WordPress, a lot of CMS systems. And eventually one day I decided, I heard about this Amazon thing, and I was like, this might be a really good idea. So I created my own Amazon business, started looking kind of for new jobs related to Amazon, and Sellozo was one of them in the area, surprisingly. And, I've been there ever since at Sellozo, and it was a really great move to be here.
I'd agree too. I think Dustin would agree as well. We're pretty happy with the positions.
It is interesting. Obviously Kris and I sell on Amazon for anybody who's listening as well. And just to have, Scott, you're in Kansas City as well, but just to have in our backyard is Sellozo, this fantastic advertising platform on Amazon. And here we are all trying to, just create our own businesses, and we're all going through the struggle of figuring everything out. And it is funny how just these little steps and these decisions that we make all lead us to now the same point. So it's really cool. And I should say to you, Scott, also, we also get a lot of comments from our clients.
Oh, thank you.
Both of you, like when our support team, customers submit a ticket, like Dustin and I apply. If we were on support, we'd do like one sentence, like this is how you do it, yada yada yada, done with it. You guys write like paragraphs and like give it screenshots. Like I'm in the right spot. I could not do that.
Yeah, I would like to say one thing though about both you and Dustin and Kris is that just being one of the original members of Sellozo, it's just like when they came on, it made a world of difference. Like we just have so many people who are more educated about Sellozo now, about how Amazon works. Like it's just a huge part of why we are here, now at Sellozo, and the point where we're at is because of Dustin and Kris, for sure. So
appreciate that.
Yeah,
It all starts at the top, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the process for people listening is somebody books a call, they talk to Dustin and I, we do a demo, we get them signed up, we do an onboarding, and then we hand it over to Scott and Grayson and their team. And they kind of do the pre-audits and the audit calls. Those pre-audit and audit calls are something we've kind of recently just added. Grayson, I'll go to you. What do you see here on those pre-audit calls? What's that kind of look like when an account comes in? What are some things you help them out with?
Basically, people coming in and just we have varying levels of experience of people coming in. So some people are like brand new to Amazon. We get a lot of newer sellers. Sellozo's designed, for newer sellers and smaller sellers too, just with our default settings about like how to set everything up properly and have a low ACoS and all of those good things. Or people will sometimes, even decide to subscribe to a managed account once they've had the account audit. They're like, oh, wait, so this is what this would be like every week? You would come in my account and do all these things? I'm like, yeah, that's basically what the managed service is like a sample. And they're like, how do I get this? So that's the other end of the spectrum. But mainly people come in, it's like either, hey, I want to be more aggressive. I can't spend my budget. Like I want to get more clicks. I've got to get more traffic to this listing. Or, they have a very well-established account. They're switching from another agency or something. And they just want to find out how to be more efficient. And so we show them how to link up the optimizer, how that's going to, get them daily bid adjustments, how they can sort of, Sellozo makes it really easy to sift through all of your data, because anybody who's ever looked at Seller Central knows it's like a dinosaur. It looks like Windows 95 or something. It's horrible. Like you can't see any of your stuff. And, I don't know if that's intentional or not on Amazon side, but it is kind of hard to figure out where am I wasting money? Like where am I bleeding out here? So we show them some really great tips and tricks about how to like apply filters in the targeting section and look at like, hey, here's all the things you've gotten 20 clicks on in the last month that have not converted. And, they're just sitting in this massive campaign with 200-300 keywords, and you have no idea, like you don't have time to go through every single one and just like cut them off. So it's really great to show them how our tools can sort of help them hone in on where they're wasting money and, where they could be more aggressive, try to get more sales. So that's the gist of it. What's
the difference between and I get this question sometimes. What's the difference between a pre-audit call and an audit call? How do those differ from one another? Besides the name,
the pre-audit call helps us get people onto the audit call, because a lot of times people will forget about it or not show up. So like the pre-audit call is like, hey, what do you want to talk about on the audit call? It's basically that first touch point where we're like, what are your goals for this account? Where can we help you? And so I send that off to our audit team, or they take notes on it basically internally and say like, this is what we're going to prep for this audit call. So it helps us become better prepared to then help them, instead of just going into a call blind and then in that 30-minute call slot that we have trying to accomplish every single thing. Because some people will come in with just one issue, and then some people will have no questions at all. They're just like, just show me what you would do with this account. So it really does vary.
Scott, what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, it really just varies on account by account basis. A lot of people come in, they need help with specific things, and Sellozo is an amazing tool for that. And that's an important distinction to make. Sellozo is definitely not like a magic pill that will fix all of your problems, but it's like a perfect.
Yes, it is.
But if you come in with that mindset that it's the perfect tool to utilize for reporting, for bid adjustments, for making all of the adjustments that you need to make, it provides like tremendous value for you. And a lot of times when working with the clients and working with accounts, it's like they really get it when they see all of those bid adjustments being made every single day on their accounts, right? If you see within like a 7-day time period, like 10,000 bid adjustments being made, you realize, okay, there's a lot of value here. Otherwise, I would have had to gone in there and done that myself. And there's no way I would have gone in there and done 10,000 bid adjustments myself. Like it's so valuable to have that software to automatically make those adjustments every single day.
Can you imagine actually trying to manage a fairly large account without
through Seller? Yeah, I've thought about this a million times.
No.
Right.
I mean, even with like bulk uploads and all the things that you can do, it's
That's
just
awful.
it's just so it's overwhelming the amount of work. And that is something that you see a lot. I mean, a lot of times Kris and I will do multiple onboarding calls with people, and on the second one, they're like, wow, thousands of adjustments have been made. I'm like, yeah, that's especially for people that are like of the mindset that Amazon does something on their end to help your campaigns perform better.
Right.
They don't. There is no optimization of your
Right.
campaigns. They'll suggest all kinds of things that will help you
Dynamic up down.
they'll separate yourself from your money really quick.
Right.
But yeah, just the power of the tool. And so we have those two plans where it's self-serve, and I think people get the gist of it. I mean, even our self-serve plans, the amount of help and resources that we provide, just the onboarding call with, Kris and myself, which is much more just highlighting what the tool does and how to turn things on. The audit call with you guys to do a deep dive. Then we have this really interactive Slack community where people can ask questions. There's so much, I think, that's helpful to do. I don't think there's any other tools out there that offer that level of support, especially in the self-serve plan.
Yeah,
No,
I think you're right. I don't think there's another tool out there that offers the level of support that we do. And each case is different, right? We offer like customized support with the audit calls, with like the follow-ups on the emails, with the Slack channels. Like obviously, like different people have different needs. And Sellozo tries to cater to those business needs as much as possible, for sure.
And it's really good for someone who doesn't really know anything about advertising either. There's a really quick, a few clicks solution to getting your ads set up and have daily optimizations rolling. I mean, I'm doing that later today. I've got an onboarding call with a very new seller. And on that onboarding call, we will launch the campaign structures for his 3 products, and he's going to be off and running. He's not going to have to do a whole lot more than, just monitor his budgets.
Right.
That kind of stuff moving forward, which is great.
Right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick, and like another conversation that I know you and I have had before, Dustin, is that I think this is really the future, right? Like, can you imagine going against, other competitors that have like an AI software that makes those adjustments every single day? Like, this is the future of Amazon. It's allowing an algorithm that's more advanced than what you can do yourself, basically adjust to the perfect point to where you want it to be. And you can't get any better than that.
Without emotion, we should put as a caveat.
Yeah.
That's something we harp on a lot.
I mean, for years, that was my biggest downfall. I felt like if I wasn't advertising on a certain word, even though it was bleeding me dry, I was like, but that's where all the sales are coming from. No, it's not profitable. So what's the point? So when you can remove that emotion and just keep those adjustments going, it really does help you perform a lot better. And it also helps you determine if this is a product that you can actually move forward with, or if it's maybe something you should shelve and move on to another product. There's so much. All right, let's do some common questions that Kris and I see on onboarding calls and on demos that you guys can help answer. Just sort of best practices with Sellozo, because I think this would be really good for anybody who's a current Sellozo client listening right now or wanting to. But the number one thing we always get is, what should I set for my target ACoS? I mean, that's the one field basically you need to fill in when you turn on the optimizer, and it's your strategy. So how do you guys help clarify what a good target ACoS should be for a client? Scott, why don't you go first, and we'll let Grayson pop in there.
Yeah. So normally you want to take a look at your business goals, and the profitability of your ACoS percentage. Like, let's say, you're profitable at a 50% ACoS percentage. Ideally, you should be below at 50% if you want to make money on those sales. If you're above 50%, it means you're losing money on those sales. But when first setting that target ACoS percentage, just setting it at what it's currently running at will still be valuable for your campaigns, because it will increase the bids on the better performing keywords and it will lower the bids on the worst performing keywords. So just having it on what it's currently running at will still do wonders to your campaigns. Obviously over time, if you're trying to kind of lower that ACoS percentage, then kind of gradually walking that down is kind of the best step, because of those organic sales. Like if you were to automatically set that 10% ACoS percentage automatically, and you had a 50% currently running, you could see a huge decrease in sales and organic sales. So doing things gradually is always kind of the best method that I like to use.
What are
Agreed.
your thoughts on that, Grayson?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to answer every question is like, it depends, but like, it really does. Like, it depends on Amazon PPC. So like, if you're coming in with a campaign, maybe on like a newer product, and you have a bunch of keywords in here in this manual, or maybe it's an auto campaign, it doesn't have to necessarily be a manual. But the point is, the higher the ACoS goal that you set, the more sales volume you're going to bring in, whether or not that's profitable. So you really have to think about product life cycle when setting your target ACoS. I think most people can agree, if you're launching a product on Amazon, you're not going to be profitable the first 3 months, maybe not even 6 months. It really just depends. So if you're coming in trying to have, a 10-15% ACoS on something that has no reviews and no traffic to it and no keyword research, you're basically just setting yourself up to very, very slowly keyword test over a long period of time without profitability. And basically you're just dragging out that keyword testing period and keyword research period. So people coming in with brand new products, I say like set the ACoS target at least like 60%, probably better at 80, and just like get through this testing period, figure out what keywords are going to work, and then you can sort of hone in on what does work, and then slowly try to reach profitability and like scale it down from there.
How do you know when to start scaling it down? Is there something some indicator that's showing like you've made enough sales, or is there some indicator where you start bringing that back down?
When your conversion rate starts to go up, I'd say is the number one thing. So once you get to that point where you've got like 20 reviews or 30 reviews, you're really going to start to see the conversion rate go up. And then you can sort of analyze the keywords that you do have. Like if you have a substantial amount of keywords and you have some good long tail exact match keywords in there that are, really specific to your product, we've pulled these in from like the broader phrase, and they're super relevant to your product, and you have a good mix of those keywords and those match types within that campaign, and it's sort of well-rounded, then I'd probably say, start dropping it down 2 to 5% at a time and just see. And a lot of times you'll hit a cliff where like, maybe you drop it down 5-10% and then all your sales drop off, like Scott was just talking about. And then you kind of know like, okay, I need to hover at this ACoS percent for a little while longer, and just see how that goes.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you made. It really just depends on the product life cycle, and where it is on that timeline.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And like, let's say you reach all the way to the first page, then that would be another indicator to be like, okay, maybe I can start to lower that ACoS percentage down because I've reached my goal of the first page of like these main keywords. So that would be kind of another way to say, okay, maybe we can try to lower the ACoS percentage a bit. But Grayson's 100% right. Like, if it's a brand new product, it's definitely going to be a higher ACoS percentage for a while until we start to get those reviews, until we start to get that traction, become ingrained in Amazon's algorithm, and then we can start to think about, okay, what does my profitability look like, and do I need to lower my ACoS percentage?
The other big question that we get that ties into that is, what should my budget be? This is a huge it depends question, obviously, but is there any criteria you use for determining budget? I mean, the big one is obviously how much do you have? But Grayson, what are your thoughts around setting a budget?
Yeah, I mean, another thing I was going to add into the previous question was organic sales too, because you want to get your organics up, obviously, and that sort of counteracts the money you're spending on PPC. But budgeting, it depends on obviously how much you have and then how much testing you want to do. So like if you have let's just say $1 cost per click average on your campaign, how many clicks a day are you going to get at $10 for the budget, So you just sort of have to see like, how long am I willing to be in this keyword testing phase? And, maybe you're saving money in the short run of things and you're not spending, $50 a day, but what you're doing is sort of bottlenecking everything, and you're not able to keyword test with a very limited budget. So that's a huge thing we look for in the audits is if you have a bunch of campaigns that are like $5 budgets, they're never going to grow, and you're never going to discover the keywords that are working in them for your product. It's just going to sort of test a little bit here and there, and you're not going to have high quality data. It's never going to be, well-rounded at that level. So that's not really a solid answer. It's still like, it depends, but you need to take into consideration, that keyword testing period and how many clicks a day you can get, the ratio of the number of keywords you have, your cost per click, and your budget. Super important. That's sort of what I look for in the account audits.
Yeah. And
Okay.
to go with Grayson's point real quick, it's just, selling on Amazon is definitely an investment, and it's a long-term investment. It's definitely a business. You're not immediately going to come in there, put a spatula up on Amazon and make, $200,000 in sales per month.
What? You're kidding. I can't do that, Scott.
Right? With no reviews. It's like, my point is that, people see that. Yes, there is a guy, guys or gals making a lot of money on the first page of Amazon for spatula, but they don't realize the roundabout way that seller made in order to get there, right? Like they were either like there for a really long time, they differentiated their product. So the point is, it's like different, your campaigns will differ and your goals will differ based on your current goals, how much money you have, and also the niche as well. All niches are definitely not created the same.
Okay, another question we get is, what does managed services look like? Like that question comes in, like, what do I do, and what's it look like? The pitch and the truth here is that it's not just Grayson handling my account, right? It's Grayson and Scott and Chloe, and they're all like together, and you guys all bounce ideas off one another. So it's kind of like a collage or a group of reps managing the account together. That's the way I put it, because there's tools out there and there's VAs out there even where you just get one person and that's it. And you don't have there's no outside the box thinking. So if somebody signs up with managed, let's go to Grayson. Grayson, if somebody signs up for managed, what do I do? What happens here?
So we do have that weekly touch point where I am your account representative. I talk to you every single week. We communicate, but I'm also collaborating with my team members. We sort of function like a well-oiled machine where, like you said, we're bouncing ideas off each other. If there's ever a problem, throw it in the chat. We have weekly meetings where we review accounts with each other, and we sort of say like, hey, I have this problem in this account. What do you guys do for this? Or I want to sell more of this item in this niche. Have you guys ever worked in this before? So you're really getting the full support team in the background, sort of collaborating with each other to impact the overall account strategy. But with that being said, getting managed is hands-on or as hands-off as you want it to be. I have some clients where they're like, I don't even want to see the keywords in the campaigns. Don't even tell me what's going on. Just do your thing. Weekly check-in, let me know how it's going, how spin, what's the tacos. And then I have clients on the opposite end of the spectrum where they're like, you want to increase the budget $5? I don't know about that. So it really just depends on the client, and we do design it. It's totally custom for that person based on their account needs and how they want us to, run the account for them. So it really is unique for each person.
What do you got there, Scott?
Yeah, I think that was a great way. And yeah, it is very much a team environment too. I mean, the only thing I would add on to that is that, we are a team of account managers at Sellozo. We work every single week together. We have a lot of communication, and, we bounce ideas off of each other as well. So that's 100% right to say it's more of a collaboration. It's you do have the one account manager for your touch point. But if there's anything that's, maybe a little bit out of the ordinary or difficult to kind of work through, we do have that team of account managers that will look at the accounts that are having trouble, so that way we can kind of work through those issues together.
Another point is a lot of times people will come on and they're actually, because they're managed and they spend so much time with their account manager and everything gets set up very well, that they can down the road, if they feel comfortable, if they feel like they've gained the knowledge of utilizing the platform themselves, they can downgrade to self-managed from managed and go back up. There's that ability to do that. And for a lot of clients, that's their sticking point. They're coming from a VA that they don't like anymore, or weren't getting results, or another service or whatever, and they don't understand what's going on in their campaigns. Maybe it's structured really strangely, and that's a good scenario for maybe a temporary managed plan, just to get everything streamlined, just to get a better understanding, learn from the account manager, and then take over from there.
Oh yeah, I've had several accounts that work that way, to where, I'll get people in there and then we'll train them every single week until they become more comfortable with Sellozo and the software and how it works. And eventually they just take over, and we love it when that happens, because we love when people learn the software.
Okay, more questions that we get all the time. So if I'm a client, I'm self-managed, and I've set up a campaign pattern for a product, auto to exact match. Let's say, set my budget, set my target ACoS, click apply. I'm off and running. What should I be doing after that? Like, do I need to check in weekly, like every other week? Do I need to make any adjustments on top of the optimizer? Is there anything I can do to make it better, or just let it run? Grayson, you take that.
It depends. So we'll frequently make adjustments that sort of expedite what the optimizer probably would have already done, just because I'm more hands-on in accounts. So like, if you have something that's at like a $6 bid and it's horrible and you're getting a lot of clicks on it, the optimizer is going to lower the bids down, on a daily basis up to 10 to 15%. So eventually the bids will get lowered down on something that's bad. If you want to like go in and do a wasted spend check, apply the filters of like what's getting a certain number of clicks, what's not converting, you can totally do that. It depends on how hands-on you want to be. With that being said, you totally can just let the optimizer take over. I would definitely check in though to make sure, sales aren't dropping off in certain places. If bids are dropped too low, that's always a thing to look for. Is just like overall volume coming in. So like sometimes they'll get dropped down a little too low, and then if your ACoS target is set too low, then they might not get raised back up where you want them to be. So like thinking of the ACoS target as a moving target and sort of working with it is helpful. I wouldn't suggest just turning the optimizer on and not checking anything for 3 months. We'd like it to work that way, but everybody's goals are different. So it really depends on like what you're looking for. But yeah, keeping an eye on budget, spend, and then sales volume is always a good idea.
Anything to add to that, Scott?
No, I think that was a great answer. It's it's good to go ahead and just check on the campaigns every once in a while. With Sellozo though, I'm confident that it'll make the correct adjustments on your keywords and everything like that eventually. But it doesn't hurt to be proactive sometimes, and that's what Grayson's talking about. Also, budgets are a really important thing too. Just making sure we're hitting our sales goals and we're not hitting up against those budgets. That's just kind of another thing to check out.
Okay, let's go into a tip. You guys were not prepared for this, so we didn't give you any heads up for this. But if you had to give a tip, like when setting up campaigns, or whether it be a broad phrase, exact, keyword, strategy, type of campaign, product targeting, whatever it is with PPC, if there's one little advice thing that you would have, what would that be? Grayson, I'm going to start with you.
Don't hit your budgets at 10 a.m. every day. That's a huge thing that like auditing. I see accounts come in and they're like, they've just been running campaigns for like months, just running out before 12 p.m. So dayparting or, increasing your budget obviously is an option, but that's what makes Sellozo so unique, is that dayparting tool where maybe you don't have the budget to spend, but you can spend it in the most efficient manner possible, which is not starting your campaign until later in the day, because you get higher quality clicks in the afternoon than you do at like 2 a.m. when somebody's just like scrolling through Amazon, adding it in the cart, maybe just clicking on it, not going to buy it. So you do get higher quality clicks and a more efficient spend of your budget when you start it later in the day. So definitely that's the biggest red flag I see in accounts coming in is like they've been hitting budget consistently for weeks and the campaign just gets cut off.
I love Dayparting. I'm using it on my own campaigns. It's great. Scott, what you got?
I would say the main tip that I have for a lot of people, and I've seen this a lot with a lot of accounts, is to start small and grow larger from there. So a lot of times people will try to do everything at once, launch all of the different campaigns like sponsored brand videos, defensive campaigns, sponsored products, launch it with 1,000 keywords, that's great and all, but it's really great to go ahead and hone in on that stuff, allow the software to make adjustments, add those keywords over time. And I found that works a lot better than going all out all at once.
That's a really good point. And I wanted to ask
both of them really good.
Both of those. Dayparting, we could talk forever about dayparting, but I feel like I did just like you, Kris. I daypart every single one of my campaigns. I mean, almost by default, I don't do like midnight to 5 a.m. or something on all of my campaigns, just until I have more data of what's going on. But you mentioned starting small.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great question. How do you structure? So I come to you, I've got $100 a day budget, for this product or whatever. And there's been not much advertising going on. How do you start with just sponsor product and then you like dial that in? And then if it's profitable, you add on. What's the order you would go to keep adding ad types? And when would you do that? Go ahead, Scott. You couldn't take this one.
Yeah, for sure. I would say starting small with just a basic auto to manual campaign. If we only have $100 per day, I think that's a great starting point, right? There obviously is the structure to where you could do auto broad phrase to exact, but the risk is that it costs more money, and it possibly could be over $100 per day, and it would just take more time. But the potential reward obviously would be you would get more sales. But in general, just starting out with the basic sponsored products, auto to manual campaign, maybe start with a low bid catch-all and then, wait from there. So later on down the line, we would do, defensive campaigns, sponsored brand headline campaigns, sponsored brand video campaigns, even all the way into the sponsored display campaigns, which the software is great at managing all of those ads for you. But just making sure that we have a strong baseline of sponsored product campaigns is a really great place to start.
I like it. There's more. My mind went because I just had a great question. I'm gonna come up with it though. But there's just so many things that you can do. I think people get lost in the weeds of how many options and what all the stuff that they can do, that it is hard. I think just like I was talking about earlier with multiple keywords. Oh, I got my question, so I'll get to it. You got all this opportunity. You have FOMO, basically. Are you missing out on sponsor brand video? Are you missing out on having 12,000 targets in your campaigns? It's like there's all this. People feel like you're missing out on sales opportunities. The question I get a lot. Okay, one of the features we have inside the platform is you can launch what I would call like an empty campaign structure, like an auto to like an exact match, or an auto to a broad to an exact, or whatever. But you're not putting in any keywords. It's just launching, letting the auto campaign feed it with conversions. Is it better? Is there any benefit to doing it that way as opposed to seeding it with keywords? Or is there too much keyword seeding you can do? What is the day? I mean, I'll give you mine. It seems like Amazon's auto campaigns have gotten better. They understand relevancy a lot better. If you don't show for something, then you're probably not even indexed for it, maybe at all. So That could be one of those targets you put in your manual campaign and you end up getting like 0 impressions and you can't figure out why. But what do you guys recommend? Is it better just to launch an empty campaign? Let's say it's a brand new product and you want to start, or is it better to seed it with keywords? Grayson, you take that one first.
Seeding is definitely going to start it off a lot quicker. So when I seed a campaign, I usually do 10 to 15 keywords, super relevant. I'll start with exact match, and that's just going to like jumpstart the process. So you can go ahead and see some spend in your manual before the keywords even get there and transfer, and like the bids get high enough. So like it's a great way to jumpstart it. And another thing we can add to that, if you have a super limited budget, maybe you don't even want an auto campaign. Maybe you just want to start with a research manual campaign, where in Sellozo you can have like a broad or phrase match group, and we can pull exact match search terms or exact match keywords from the search terms that we get from the broad and the phrase. So you can self-link the campaign. That's sort of a more controlled way to do keyword research, where you're not necessarily, going like the full auto route where it's pulling in ASINs and, super broad things in the Amazon auto. So a lot of times I'll do that if like the autos run too high, or if we just have a very limited budget, we'll just start with like broad and phrase match and sort of try to pull exact match from those.
Fantastic. I think that's pretty much the main. Chris, do you have any other main questions that people ask, like on those right there? It's like that covers the main questions. Obviously, we go down into so many rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Here.
I mean, we usually get the budget you hit on. We always get that. The target ACoS we always get. The structures we always get. Even the seed keyword one, that was a good one. So I think you hit them all.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to do this more often, guys. We've got to get you guys out talking to everybody, because you guys are geniuses. You're amazing at what you do. Kris and I learn stuff every day from the team of account managers. It's amazing what you guys do and the impact that you have on the brands that we manage and the brands that use our platform. I mean, you guys have impact on everybody. So for everybody listening, if you are doing your advertising yourself right now, and you've just listened to Grayson and Scott talk about how they manage campaigns, and you want that level,
you need that level, because your competitors are doing something different than you.
Yes, your competitors are doing something, and you need to match them with that same level. Excuse me. But you want to definitely take a deeper look into what we offer at Sellozo. So you can go to sellozo.com. You can book a demo. You'll either get Kris or myself on that demo. Then if you sign up, we're going to give you an onboarding call. And if you want managed, we're going to hook you up with the best fitting account manager for you. And if you want to do it on your own, you're going to have a lot of resources at your disposal. So Grayson, Scott, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a blast. Yeah. We'll do it again. And we're going to narrow these topics down, and we are going to go down some rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Maybe we ought to do a little jump down the rabbit hole series where we just take one topic and just dive way down it. But we'll do that for sure. Everyone, if you like content like this, you want to just pop on a podcast and hear two Amazon experts talking about all their strategies, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. You can also see the live streams on Sellozo's Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube channels. So make sure you go there, subscribe, turn on notifications. You'll be just walking around looking at Facebook, and all of a sudden we'll pop up with a great episode. So make sure that you do that. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back at this again next time. Have a